What do I know? I'm just a girl on the internet. Well, I just so happened to be unintentionally batching this here fake plant next to me. Now, if you are listening audio only, you don't know what I'm talking about. And if you're here watching the video, hey, hello, how are ya? I'm wearing a dark green sweatshirt. Sitting here right next to me is a dark green fake plant. And if y'all thought it was real, well, joke's on you, because it ain't. And I don't really know why my southern accent all of a sudden just kind of came out, but it did. It did. What's really funny is when Chris and I started dating, he was living in Kansas City when we were dating and then moved here, obviously. And what's funny is when we would do FaceTime and different things, obviously because we were long distance, we spent a lot of time on FaceTime. I used to, and I do this all the time, and I've done this for a lot of my life, just like randomly going into another accent, no context, just vibes. Like recently, we've been watching Ted Lasso, which I know Ted Lasso came out several years ago, but we've just started rewatching it. Chris is rewatching, I'm watching for the first time, and everybody on that show is European. So of course, as I'm talking, my European accent accidentally comes out of nowhere. I just start talking a little bit of an accent, and I can't help it, right? So when Chris and I would be on FaceTime in our long distance relationship at one point, sometimes I'd randomly break out my southern accent. And I've got different levels of southern accents. I've got a little twang, just like a little, hey, how y'all doing? I'm good. How are you? Like little bits in that. And then I can get real southern to the point where you're like, there's no way you're saying real words. And I am saying real words. It just doesn't seem like it. Okay. To which that is very confusing. All right. I have patients in the hospital. I've met people in the wild who have such thick southern accents, you're like, come again? I didn't. And there were several times where I, over FaceTime, would introduce Chris to that weird side of me. The breaking out into random accents at any given point. And he's used to it now. But at first he was like listening to my southern accents and he's just like, there's no way, like you're exaggerating that, right? And I was like, no, baby, no, I am not exaggerating that. And if you are also not from southern states, North Carolina, other southern states, you might be asking yourself, there's no way. And to which I would say, yes way. We don't all sound like that. Not every southerner talks like that, but there are some accents so thick you will be questioning yourself. But I've lived here my whole life. I'm used to it. I think that makes life all the more exciting when you can just whip out an accent. And also, how do accents even work? I don't quite understand how I'm just shifting things in the back of my throat and all of a sudden I can sound completely different. Like, why have I got a little ting in the back of my throat and then all of a sudden I'm going to sound like totally different? Right. Completely different. Oh, sometimes I could talk like I don't know where this accent is from, but sounds very posh, very particular, very, fancy. I don't know. Accents are so weird. Sometimes I'll get put on the spot to do an impression or like an accent. I get a little nervous. Like I'm really good when there's no camera on me. There's no, just in my own mind. Or if I'm walking around the house. You ever do stuff around the house and an accent will pop out? Right, I've got to go clean the toilets and then, right, I've got to clean the shower and then I've got to do the dishes. Right, and then I've got to vacuum. Right, I've got a vacuum. Anyone else got a vacuum? Oh, I hate vacuuming. Accents are so fascinating. I don't really know why I decided to make that the opener of this podcast, but hey, look at you. You've made it this far. Welcome back to your favorite podcast. This is Girl on the Internet. I'm your host, Kayla. Thanks for hanging out. Right. I am, in fact, wearing a Colorado sweatshirt. I have not been to Colorado, and no, I cannot name 4 of their albums. That was a terrible joke, by the way. Haven't been to Colorado. Did I get this sweatshirt at Sam's Club? Yes. Yes, I did. Chris and I have a Sam's membership, and that is another elite experience of being in your 30s. I'm serious. I used to see memes all the time about 30-year-olds, and I was like, you guys are kind of exaggerating. There's no way that you're into certain things. The memes are real, you guys. I am here to set the record straight. If you see any memes about being in your 30s, they are real. Okay, if you're still in your 20s, if you're still hip and young and cool, Got a big storm coming, babe. Big storm coming. When I saw memes about, oh, when you're in your 30s, you're going to start liking birds. I was like, what the, who's going to, I have a bird app on my phone now. And whenever I hear a bird chirping, I press the app. It records the bird. It analyzes the bird's sound, and then it tells me what bird that is. And then I can track it on the app. And I have a log of different birds that I've heard and or seen. Right. Thought that was fake. Nope, that's real. Get excited about Sam's Club? Check. 30-year-old vibe. Get excited about a new appliance? Perfect. I got a new vacuum last year. Best vacuum I've ever used in my life. And it was cost effective. Great for pet hair, which we have 2 pets. Being 30 is weird. Wanting to wind down and end your evening around, 7:30. One day I was hip and young and cool, and now I get excited to go to sleep early on a Saturday night. I don't know what happened. Actually, I do. I just channeled into my inner grandma side. This side has always existed. Even in my 20s, I was like not much of a big like partier, drinker, going out kind of gal. I had my moments. I did it once in a while. But I was always like, I want to just go home, want to lay in my comfy bed, watch a movie, read a book, whatever, journal, do a craft. And now I'm embracing that. And especially when you live with a partner who embraces that as well. Next thing you know, you're both in bed before 9 o'clock on a Saturday, and you just spent the entire day antique shopping and thrifting. And that really wore you out, okay? And you probably had dinner at 6 o'clock. Hell, maybe even 5:30. Just depends on the vibes, you know? And you get to that point where you're like, ooh, this thing is just too darn sweet for me. Brother. If you would have told me 10 years ago that I would eat something and I would consider it to be, quote, too sweet, I would have been like, take me right now. Just let me go right now. Outback, let me go. Turns out, as your frontal lobe develops, certain things do get a little too sweet, too sickly sweet. Like, I love a sweet treat, I love a little dessert, whatever, a little snack. But there are moments when I eat stuff and I'm like, that is just entirely too sweet. And then I'm just like, wow, I'm 30. And that's like that's like what you will have to look forward to for anyone listening who's not quite 30. Again, I thought it was a meme. I thought there were jokes. They're very real. So yeah, you have to look forward to that. But yeah, all that because I mentioned that this sweatshirt is in fact from Sam's Club. And if you don't have like a membership to a Sam's Club, BJ's, Costco, you might just find yourself getting one in your 30s. And it's going to be exciting as hell when you're like, we got to make a Sam's run. We got to make a Sam's run. Time to go to Sam's. It's just so fascinating. The store is just so incredibly fascinating. I could and I do sometimes spend hours in there. Bulk size of things? Absolutely. Never considered buying an XXL shampoo and conditioner until I go to Sam's. It's amazing. How do they do it? How do they suck you in like that? I will forever be somebody who's just so fascinated by time and the concept of time and how there are certain things in life that feel like they drag on and on and on. And other times where you're like, I cannot believe it's been 1 year, 5 years, 3 years. That flew by. It's crazy. I just like truly don't understand that phenomenon. The concept of time and all of that is just so interesting to me. The concept of time, the perception, how people experience the same 24 hours in a day, but like utilize it differently or feel it differently. Or, you know, when it's like Wednesday, middle of the week, and people are like, it's finally Wednesday. And then other people are like, I can't believe it's only Wednesday. Like, it's just such a fascinating concept to me. All that to say, Chris and I just celebrated 1 year living together in the townhouse. And I figured it would be a good time to do a little podcast update, a little time to elaborate on that experience, because not only has it been a year since we lived together, which in the concept of time is fascinating and I don't understand it, it has felt like I blinked and it's been a year. He's officially been in North Carolina for a year. He's been in his job a year. We've been living together for a year now. It feels like we've already been together a lifetime, but also it seems like we've only been here for like 10 minutes. It's just weird. Like, it's just the concept of that is so strange. And with that, Chris often listens to podcasts and different things while he's commuting to work or sometimes while he's at work. And because I have a wonderful, iconic, supportive, amazing boyfriend, he does listen to Girl on the Internet podcast. Chris, if you're listening to this one right now, specifically, love you the most. But he does listen, and he has listened to a lot of the episodes. Recently, he told me he was listening to one of the episodes, and I had suggested he go back and listen to some of my older episodes because, oh, how different life was before I met some random guy online, guy on the internet, if you will. Just listening to some of my episodes, before my mom passed, when I was thick in my single girl era and owning it, just different episodes, like from, I guess, like quote my past, like just if he was curious to see like what that was like or what I was talking about at the times. And I'd suggested that he go back and listen to like 2 different episodes specifically. Like one, I think was titled like It's Okay to Be Picky. And then the other one was like being the single friend. And in that, I knew that those were 2 episodes specifically that I was talking a lot about being single, and it's okay to have your own opinion and your own standard. And like, you can, again, like literally be picky in terms of dating, in terms of picking the college that you want to attend, in terms of picking the job that you want to work for, different things like that. Obviously, I focused being picky a lot on relationships or picking a partner, things like that. And because I had recommended he listen to those podcasts, I was like, you know what? It's been a minute. I was like, I have not listened to my old podcasts since they came out, especially now that I'm in a relationship. I was like, what is it going to be like to go back and listen to like my single girl era podcasts? And I did. I went back and I listened to It's Okay to Be Picky and being the single friend, or being like chronically single or something like that. Like I had a whole episode kind of talking about what it was like to be the chronically single friend. And honestly, here's the tea, guys. I went back and listened and I was like, damn, low-key, she kind of ate. I honestly, like, I listened to that and I was like, bitch, I gave myself a little pat on the back because I said, I truly do my best on these episodes and in this podcast to really give good advice when I can, kind of be like that big sister vibe, be a friend who's up close and personal, being that like, person that you can talk to about anything. We're catching up on FaceTime, we're catching up over a phone call. Like I'm really just like here for you, and I'm going to pretty much give it to you blunt and real, but also not like be a jerk at the same time. And I was just listening to that episode and I was like, damn, good for me for really sticking to my guns and talking about what it was like to be chronically single. And I had talked about like, I'm in no rush to be in a relationship. The dating apps are horrible. I'm okay thriving and embracing and being single because one day I won't be. And then one day I'll be with somebody else. And then, if you get engaged, then you're potentially with that person for the rest of your life. I just think I hit so many good points in that episode. And I now in a relationship, a good, great, wonderful, healthy, loving relationship. I look back on that episode and I'm like, I still wouldn't disagree or change a thing. I ate with that episode. So if you're single, struggling, the dating scene is horrible, you feel like you're the only single friend, blah, 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 check out that episode. Because I really did give some good advice. But even listening to it as a person now in a relationship, I still stand by everything that I said. There was, and never would have been, a rush to be in a relationship. I still think the apps are terrible, if not probably getting worse. I think there's no worries with rushing out the single version of yourself, because once you were in a relationship, you don't really get to be single anymore, especially if you, again, get engaged, get married, whatever. But even when you are just like in a relationship, whether it is long-term or not, you kind of say goodbye to that single version of yourself. And I actually was like reflecting the other day, listening to that episode. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I haven't really, like single Kayla has left the building, almost 2 years ago, which is just crazy to think about. Because you don't really acknowledge that single version of you is just gone all of a sudden, because now, I'm embracing the version of myself that is in a healthy, wonderful relationship and I'm loving it. But again, I still stand by everything I said. And I was in no rush to be in a relationship. The universe just put Chris and I together, and it's so freaky because I do a whole episode about that. If you don't know, my boyfriend and I, we actually met on Reddit unintentionally on a coffee subreddit, completely separate and derived from like a relationship. Like I'm sure on Reddit there are places that's like singles looking for singles. That was not this. We were two anonymous people on Reddit at the same time, completely in the same place at the same time, unintentionally, and the rest is history. Now we live together and we're dating and it's wonderful and we're no longer long distance. But I was not seeking a relationship, nor was Chris. It just happened. I am glad I went back and listened to that episode about being picky, because Chris checks every box that I've ever wanted in a significant other. And this is not to blow smoke up his ass. This is not to be like, oh my God, like this is just genuinely how I feel. Because I listened to that episode again, like the being picky and being single. And I am so glad that I stuck to my core values and my beliefs about dating and about how I wanted to be treated in a relationship, because I would not trade this for the world. I am in such a good, happy, healthy, wonderful, loving, supportive place because of the partner that I have, because it all started with me setting boundaries for myself and me putting up walls against people's bullshit. And not just saying yes to the first guy that shows up, and not lowering my standard for any reason, and like not backing down from something that I know and believe to be true. And for that, I'm so proud of myself, and for that, I'm in a wonderful relationship. And it is not all credit to me. Chris in general is an amazing human being. His employees love him. His family loves him. Like, he's a great person. So that makes it all the more better. But in terms of what I did, is I'm proud of myself for not backing down, for not letting anyone get in my head about having a standard or being picky, and look where that got me. It got me in the healthiest relationship of my life, like genuinely love of my life, like this guy. And I'm just proud of myself for never backing down, no matter how hard it was to be like, oh, I'm in my late 20s, I'm single, I'm chronically single, like, will I ever get married? Will I ever have kids? Like, I just did not let those societal pressures and like pressures amongst your friends, like, ever get in my head. They existed. I felt them. I acknowledged them. I knew I was single. I knew that I was very far from getting married or very far from having kids. I knew all of that, but I just didn't let that be at the forefront of my mind at all times. I did not let that consume me. I didn't let being single define who I was. I didn't let myself think you have to have a man to be worthy, or you have to be in a relationship to be worthy. Like, I was totally fine being single. I rocked it. I owned it. I learned so much about myself. I got to do so many fun things in that time of my life. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm so glad I had those experiences. I'm so glad I didn't rush getting into a relationship. I'm so happy that I'm in one and I love where I'm at, but I'm still I stand by everything that I've ever said about being single and taking your time and waiting. And there is just like no rush. Like, there's really not. I mean, it took me to be almost 30 years old to be in the best, healthiest, happiest relationship I've ever been in. Wouldn't trade that for the world. Not at all. And I'm just really glad I never let certain friends, or I should say like ex-friends, get in my head about like, your standards are too high, you're like too picky, like that guy likes you. And just not just going with that because it's like, yeah, you're right. I'd rather be in a relationship that's average or just okay or just whatever than just tough it out being alone. When being alone can be so fun and so amazing, and you learn so much about yourself, and you get to just do so many things, and you have the opportunity to do so many things. And again, in re-listening to those episodes, talking about, I was like, hey, like, I don't think it's unreasonable to want a boyfriend who is kind, who is gentle, who is not a douchebag, who is kind to my family, who listens to me, who supports me, you know, who isn't a fuckboy, who isn't so many things, which, by the way, little side note, in those episodes, I was still kind of new to podcasting. Girl on the internet was still very fresh. She was just like a little newborn. I wasn't sure if I was going to cuss on the podcast. So I was like, is it so wrong that I don't want an F-boy as a boyfriend? And now I'm just like, what the fuck? I don't want no fuck boys. Like, I was just like unsure. I was like, do I cuss on the podcast? Like, who's going to listen? Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I re-listened and I was like, all those things are totally still valid. And I'm so glad I waited it out to end up with someone as wonderful as Chris. And like, it is what it is. And again, it's not a high standard if you're like, I just don't want you to be a douchebag. It's not a high standard to be like, hey, don't cheat on me. Not a high standard to have equality in a relationship and have give and take and have like healthy, normal boundaries and the ability to communicate. Those aren't high standards, guys. Like, I swear the bar is in hell for so many things. Like, I see shit on the internet all the time. Or like even with some of my friends in real life and they're like, oh my God, he did this. And it goes both ways. She did this, they did that, whatever. Taking the gender out of it. Oh my God, they did this for me. Babe, that's the bare minimum. Like, that's not something that you should brag about when that's literally the bare minimum. Like, bare minimum treatment is not to be celebrated. We don't give pats on the back for being a good human being because that's just the standard. Right? That's just the standard. You know what I'm saying? You're not getting a prize because you're nice when that's just expected, right? You're not getting a gold medal because you bought me flowers one time. Like, you can do that frequently, you know? You should never feel that you have to award good behavior in a partner, okay? When that's the standard. Being treated kindly, being spoken to with dignity, being present, being communicative, being supportive, those are standards in a relationship. And if anybody disagrees with that, then you're not in a healthy relationship or you're not in a healthy mind space, like, at all. Those qualities of being communicative and fair and loving and listening and being willing to compromise, and those are like non-negotiables. Like, those are things that are expected in a relationship. And if someone that you're dating or you're married to, like, they do that out of the blue and you're like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so happy they're doing this. We're not, like, you don't reward that behavior when it's just the standard, or it should be. You should be making that the standard. Okay. Like, I've never, ever understood that. I have friends who are married. I have seen adults in my life when I was a child who would just reward bare minimum behavior, or they would brag about something that their partner is doing for them that is like so low effort that I would be like, are they seriously like really happy about this thing? Like, that's like a random Tuesday night. Like, what's like the big like hero situation of this all? Like, what is this thing that we're applauding to be like the best thing ever when it was just like that's like a normal thing to do in a relationship, you know? Like, what? Oh my God, my husband helped me with the dishes. Right. Like, gold medal, high five, or like a hey thanks, like, hey thanks. Like, that's always been weird to me. I've just like never understood that concept of relationships when we are like applauding the bare minimum. I'm grateful for the things Chris does for me. And if he goes above and beyond, or he does something out of surprise or out of whatever, of course I tell him thank you and that I'm grateful and all these things. But like on a day-to-day for like basic things that we do for each other, it's like, hey, we're just being like good people at this point to each other. Like, we're just like, what's like the big fuss? Like, we're just helping each other. Why wouldn't you do that? If you're listening to this episode and you're single, and you have anyone in your ear saying that you shouldn't be picky, you shouldn't be this, you should just like settle. Like, there's so many amazing people out there, but like you're just being too difficult. Don't listen to them. I'm so serious. Do not. If you have anyone in your life at all, a friend, a coworker, a parent, like literally anybody, just be like, get out of my ear and just leave me alone. And I know what I'm doing. Cause like, I'm proof that like it works. Like, being patient and not letting your guard down and not changing your standards like works. You can actually get someone who is all of these wonderful things. Like, they exist. I know they're hard to find, but they exist. So, and also I just think it's interesting too, like if you have someone in your ear being like, you're being picky or you're being, you know, this, that, and the third about your relationship and saying like, why don't you just like settle? Like, there's so many people that are obsessed with you. Take a second and like evaluate their relationship real quick. Like, is this someone talking to you, like maybe like your aunt telling you like, hey, like, you know, you're getting old, you're 30, and your aunt is like, well, you could be in a relationship if you just like, you know, put yourself out there. But like your aunt and like your like her husband, like your uncle, like they fight like cats and dogs all the time. They've been on the brink of divorce like 42 times. They hate each other. One's cheated on the other one. One is starting to kill the other one. Like, come on. Like, really? Is that the best person to be giving relationship advice to you? Probably not. Maybe you have a best friend in your ear. Maybe you have a best friend who's never been single and they've just chronically jumped from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship. They've literally never been single. And they say, hey, like, you're being really picky. Like, oh my God, you could have a boyfriend if you just like tried. Like, so many people like love you. Like, there's like that guy over there. He thinks you're cute. But you have had a friend who's been chronically in relationships and never single and has never just settled for time alone. They've just, you know, said yes to whatever guy walks in the frame. Oh, maybe just like evaluate that for a second. Like, should we be getting advice and taking it from people who probably shouldn't be giving it? I'm just saying. I mean, to each their own, whatever. This is not a relationship shaming episode. I'm just saying, like, think about where your advice is coming from. Especially if someone is in your ear saying like, you could do better. You could like, you're being picky. Think about maybe their relationship or their past relationships and be like, I'm okay. Thanks, actually. And to just say it, frankly, like, again, this is not relationship shaming, whatever. I did have a friend for a while who used to be in my ear constantly. I think like truly like she just found ways to embarrass me, or like she just had a personality that's very like to impress other people in the room and try to find ways to belittle or embarrass you if possible. Don't know what kind of self-esteem issue that is, but that's not my business. But she would always make a fuss in front of any group of people, especially if there were guys around, saying that I was single or at whatever time that I hadn't had my first kiss or whatever. I mean, she made efforts to go and make fun of me, essentially. And I used to think it was funny. I was like, haha, like silly. But she would do it in front of my close girlfriends, people I didn't know, guys I didn't know. She would always be quick, you know, because when you're in groups of friends, you end up playing games. I was going to say spin the bottle. Who the fuck's playing that? You know, you're playing drinking games, card games, whatever, like, you know, put a finger down if blah, blah, blah. And she would just find ways to kind of knock me down if she could. And again, I used to think it was like funny at the time, but looking back, I'm like, wow, you actually were really a shitty friend, actually. So she would find whatever she could do to like make fun of me being single or like, you know, pick on me for being picky or whatever. And she used to always be in my ear saying like, you're picky and your standards are too high. And like, you know, just give a guy a chance, like just go on a date, like just rip the band, just do it. Like, you know, just get out there. Or like, you know, she was also very like pro, like just go sleep with somebody, like just go sleep with a guy and like, you know, get it over with or do whatever. She was always in my ear, you know, saying different things. Well, she's divorced now, so yikes. Anyways, just stay true to yourself, guys, because your core and like your deep guts knows what's best for you. And yeah, don't settle, because you never know what's around the corner for when you actually are patient and take your time. So with all that to say, living with Chris has been wonderful for a year. No, we are not married. No, we are not engaged. But we have lived together for a year, which is a hot topic. Some people have some strong thoughts about that. Whether that be they agree with it, disagree with it, whatever. But it's ultimately your life, yours and your partner's. No one else knows what you're going through. No one else knows what's going on. What's crazy, again, mine and Chris's relationship, our entire relationship has been so just different. Like it's just been really like different out of the box. Long distance to this, to virtual, to anonymous, to whatever. So we haven't really had like a normal trajectory to start with. So we can't expect to just like have total normalcy like the rest of the population. At our 6-month dating mark, like we were officially together and dating and boyfriend and girlfriend for 6 months. On that 6-month anniversary, I say anniversary with air quotes, was the same day that we were in Chris's truck driving cross country from Kansas City to Charlotte because he was moving in with me. 6 months. I had known this man I'd known him longer than 6 months, but we were like officially dating for 6 months at that point. Never in my wildest dreams of my life would I ever had thought I would do something like that. 6 months? Are you kidding? Sometimes it's for the best. Maybe my mother wasn't alive, because I think that would have given her a heart attack. I'm gonna be so honest. So honest with you. Like, that's crazy. If I had a friend that said, hey, like, me and my boyfriend are moving in together after 6 months, I'd be like, hey, you want to think about that for a second? And I get it. Chris and I thought about it. We did. There has just been something between us that has just truly clicked from the start. And I know that's the most annoying cliche of all time, but it really, like, we clicked so early. Like, our love and our energy for each other was just so undeniable that it was like, it just was like, right. It was like, okay, like, whatever, 6 months. Okay. Like, it didn't feel weird, except for when you were telling people, you're like, oh, so how long have you guys been together? You're moving in. I'm like, 6 months. And they're like, what? But again, it's like, it's so easy to judge and be like, that's weird, that's too soon, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, no one really knows like what we have together and like what's going on with us. And that was also not just like on a whim. Like, this was like a lot of conversations. Like, he had landed a job. This was many conversations. And this was like, hey, so, you know, if you're doing all of this to like move across the country, like, we have like a future together, right? Like, this is not just like a big old hookup, right? I mean, there was serious talks about our future and what our relationship looks like and what it would look like and things like that. So there was a lot that went into that decision, obviously, but never in my life, ever. I remember when I was younger, I'd be like, I need to at least know somebody for like a year before I consider moving in with them. But damn, shit changes. I mean, that's the other beauty of relationships, is like, you may have this standard or this thought in your head, or like, oh, I always like swore to myself that I would be, you know, this situation, or I would be doing something like this or not doing something like that. And it's not until you're in that like relationship or in that situation where things can change and your mind can change and everything can just change. So be open to that as well, because you never know how your thought process could change or how you just feel different about a situation when you're actually in it. Never in my life, ever. I always swore to myself, I was like, I need to at least know a guy for at least a year before we move in together. Like, that's a big step. And it is. It's a huge step. But I never thought I would click with a guy so perfectly and so effortlessly that at 6 months it was like, why didn't we actually do this sooner? You know, like, you just don't actually know until you're there. But it has been a wonderful year. We are still doing little bits and bobs of renovations in the townhouse. We are renting, but we're trying to make it as homey as possible. We're going to, you know, live here for another year at the minimum. And it's been great. It's like every day, like, actually we'll go to bed and like lay down and I'll just like tell him, like, I'll look at him and be like, isn't this so fun? This is like a sleepover every day. Like, you and me sleep over every day. Like, we just don't get tired of each other. Like, it's exciting to be with each other. We enjoy each other's company. We don't have like moments where we're just like, you drive me crazy, you're insufferable, I don't want to be around you. It's like, how can I be with you more, actually? Like, I'm right now, I'm down here recording this episode. He's upstairs playing video games. And I'm like, I just want to be up there hanging out with him. Like, that's just like what we have that I love. And that's how I just know that we are so meant to be together. There hasn't been a moment of confusion or question or did I do this right? Or did I, like, there's just, I don't ever have questions with Chris. Like, there's never a moment of like, should I have said this? Should I have done that? Like, we just click, and it's just great. And I know that's like so obnoxious to hear, because when I was single and people would talk about their relationship, I'd be like, shut the fuck up. Like, no one cares that you guys are so perfect and you're so cute. Gag, make me throw up. But I want to give hope to any of those that are listening that might be single, or, you know, maybe you're even in a relationship and you're questioning whether or not it's worth it or it's going to go anywhere or whatever. But just know that there are like real authentic relationships out there. I know that they like almost seem fake nowadays, especially with social media and online dating apps and things like that, but they do exist. I am proof. Never thought I'd be saying that, because the Kayla that started this podcast truly thought that she'd be single her entire life and just be the cool aunt that had cats and hung out with her best friend's kids. And like, that was it. Like, I really thought that was what was going for me. I was okay with whatever scenario the universe was going to lay out for me. But I really did think single was like, that was going to be it for me. I didn't really put myself out there very much, and I did that on purpose. But I was like, I'm okay with whatever. Like, my self-worth is not defined by a relationship or lack of a relationship, being with a man, not being with a man. Like, I was just working on myself, and I was trying to become confident and sure and proud of who I was. And I'm still working on that, but I'm so glad I did all that work while I was single, because I think that has made me a better partner. It's made me navigate our relationship better. It's made my relationship easier. Like, I'm just glad I spent that time doing what I had to do to get to where I am now in the relationship that I'm in now. But in a year of living together, it's been great. I really have no complaints, like, truly. We work so well as a team. Like, that's just the best way I describe Chris and I to other people, is like, we're just a team. This is not like he's the head of the household and I'm the woman I need to be behind. Like, we don't have any of those outdated sexist sort of ideations at all. Like, we just work as a team. Like, if things need to be done, like, we just get things done together. I take care of things. He'll take care of things. We overlap on stuff. Like, it's not like, oh, well, dishes are a girl job, so I have to do that. Like, we're constantly switching up like what we do. There are a few tasks, of course, that like I kind of gravitate towards, and a few things that he'll gravitate toward, but like, overall, we are a team. Like, we work together. And I think the beautiful thing about Chris and I and like our relationship is we really balance each other out so well. There will be times where my energy is like 95%. I'm bouncing off the walls. I have all these ideas. I'm ready to go. And then like he will have like a very depleted battery, whether that be a social battery or like he's just bogged down with work or whatever, maybe sick, something. We always balance each other out. When I'm up here, he's down here. When I'm down here, he's up here, and we just balance each other out. And that is so great. There will be moments when I have no energy for whatever that is, or maybe grief is really hitting me hard that day. Maybe I'm on my period, like whatever it is, he's got my back. Like, he's got my back, no questions asked. He'll do whatever it takes to help me bring my energy up. We joke about that we're like opposites in that regard, is whenever one of us has high energy, the other has low, and we can usually meet each other in the middle and shit gets done. And that's great. We keep open lines of communication at all time. There's nothing weird about us living together. There's no need to hide stuff or to lie about anything, or, I mean, it's like the healthiest thing that I've ever been a part of, and it's just crazy. There's no like sneaking around. I mean, everything is just open discussion, open communication, touching base with one another, writing little sticky notes here and there, surprise dates, surprise bouquets, whatever. And in this year, it just makes me all the more excited for all the more years to come, and like what's next for us, and just continuing this relationship that we have. It just gets me excited. And that's so gross. I'm all smitten for this man. It's gross. Never thought I would be on this podcast specifically talking about my love life and how great it is, like how great things are going. But yeah, I mean, I do think living with a partner is the ultimate test as to, can you guys make it work? I would argue everybody should live with their partner prior to marriage or prior to like whatever your future holds. I think it would be very strange to be dating Chris for as long or longer and like not physically living together. He's very neat and organized and clean. So am I. It's a beautiful partnership with that. But like, I'm glad I get to live with him, like see how he goes day to day. How does he maintain his side of the room? How does he, do different things? Like, I think living together with someone is like a must personally before you progress the relationship. That's just one of my hot takes, I guess. But it definitely is like a big test to the relationship. That and like going on a vacation with somebody, I think, are two huge things that you can do to really test the relationship and see, is this going the right way? Do you have the same morals? Do you agree on the same things? What do you do with finance, with money? Like, how do you act when you're overstimulated or tired or cranky or hot or sick or whatever? And I think those things can be very well portrayed through a vacation or living together. So we have done both, and it's been great. We're just two very easygoing, easy people. And it's just like, I've learned that relationships aren't hard when you're with the right person. Like, they're really not. Constant fighting and bickering and questioning and gaslighting and belittling and shit talking, that's not normal. Yelling, screaming, raising your voice, that's not normal in a relationship. And I witnessed a lot of that growing up, and that's not normal behavior, which is also largely why I feared being in a relationship, because I was like, this is what I have to look forward to. Oh brother, this guy stinks. Like, why would I want to be in a relationship or have a partner or be married if this is what it is, just arguing and fighting and bickering all the time? Right. So it turns out actually that's not the truth. Actually, Ellen, that's not the truth. It's not the truth if you're with the right person. It's not the truth if you're with a person who you know how to communicate with, so you're not fucking raising your voice. You're not arguing with. You're not belittling and yelling and mocking and having arguments. That's just not a thing. Like, you can have a disagreement and talk to your partner about it without raising your voice. Shocker, I know. You can have differing opinions and just talk about it, and no one's mad or upset. Like, it really is that easy. It's that easy if you're with the right person, truly. And I do believe people are paired with the wrong people from time to time, and that's why there is chaos and there's hecticness and there is fights and arguments and there is, cheating and whatever and lies and deceitfulness and things like that. But when you're with a partner where just the communication is at its core the most important, everything else is pretty easy. And that's what it's been like living with Chris for the last year. I think he would agree to what I'm saying as well, assuming he's listening to this at some point. But it's been great. It's so fun. I love living with my partner. We have the best time. It literally feels like a sleepover every day. Wouldn't change it for the world. Still can't believe we moved in, only dating 6 months, but has it worked out perfectly? And I'm excited for all of more what is to come with us. I think it's important to remember that relationships aren't hard if you're with the right person. They can have challenges, they can have ups and downs, whatever, but it's mostly about how the two of you are navigating life now together, right? Life is hard. Cost of living is a lot. Jobs, salaries, work, traffic, family drama, family health, family this, family that. Whatever. Those things are the real challenges in life. Your relationship should not be the challenge that stresses you out. Life is unpredictable and stressful, and there's so much going on. When you come home at night to your partner, or when you see your partner on the weekends, that should be where you feel the least stressed. You should not be worried about an argument or lies or a voice that's been raised or walking on eggshells around a partner. That should be your peace and comfort. And that's what my relationship is. The world sucks. The world is hard, right? My job is mentally and physically heavy, not the internet, my healthcare job. Cost of living is ridiculous. Politics are ridiculous. The government is ridiculous. AI is driving everyone fucking crazy. That is so stressful and so horrible. And all of that is just like a lot. But when I'm with Chris, like, all of that melts away, because there's not a lot we can do about that stuff. But what we can do is prioritize our relationship, how we communicate, how we treat each other, and how we feel about each other. And when life is sucking, because it do be sucking sometimes, when life is sucking, when everything just is awful in the world, and I can just shut all that off and I can have a moment with Chris, and we're watching a movie, a TV show, we're playing a video game, we're just laying next to each other in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, I can just forget about all that and know, at least I have peace in my relationship. At least I'm happy and calm and at peace and loved in this relationship, regardless of all the crazy shit that's happening elsewhere in the world or in my job or whatever. And I think that is the core of what is important for a relationship, is like, does this person bring you peace and calmness? And if yes, then you're probably with the right person. If it's constant arguing and nitpicking and belittling and lying, and if there's cheating going on, like, that's not normal. I don't care what anybody says, it's not normal. Every relationship, of course, can have a bicker, like, there can be bickering or arguments or disagreements. But if that's all it is constantly, is just raising your voice and lying and stress and anxiety and hatred and hot and cold and up and down, like, that's not normal. And I can now say that after being in a relationship almost 2 years. And I know there are probably some people maybe listening who are like, oh, just give it time. 2 years is nothing. Like, you need to be together at least 5 years to really get to know each other, which, like, that shit's going to piss me off because no, it's not. Time in a relationship with someone that you feel so confident with doesn't change a thing. And I'm also somebody that I've already talked to Chris about pretty much every topic we could possibly talk about, because I've told you guys before on this podcast, it's not, what's your favorite color? Oh my God, like, what's your sister's name? It's, let's talk credit scores. Let's talk past sexual history. Let's talk about your future. Let's talk about this. I like to ask hard-hitting questions. And in return, so does Chris. Like, this was not just like an easy peasy, like, oh yeah, like, well, we just like each other. Let's just like move across the country. Like, we've had those difficult conversations. And in 5 years, I would like to bet that we are still very happy and healthy and things are going well because we just click so well. And fuck people that say you're just in the honeymoon phase, or, well, you guys are like that because you're still fresh and new, or, oh, wait till you have kids. Turns out your relationship with your partner doesn't actually have to change when the circumstance change if you actually love each other and if you actually are with the right person. The honeymoon phase doesn't have to end if you really love your partner and you're with the right person. I hate that. I hate the stereotype and the stigma of, well, you're in the honeymoon phase. Oh, just wait till you get married. Old ball and chain, you know? I've never understood that. Marriage is supposed to be great and it's supposed to make your relationship and enhance it. I hate seeing the jokes about like the little people on a cake at a wedding and the bride is like dragging the groom. Ew, that's so weird to me. The old ball and chain. I would kill somebody if they ever talked about me like that. Like, what do you mean? Oh, the old wife is at home. Like, what are you talking about? Like, that doesn't have to be normalized. That doesn't have to be a thing. If you're in the right relationship and there's genuine love and appreciation and communication, like, stop normalizing that stuff. That's fucking weird. Well, you're in the honeymoon phase. Well, Carol, actually, that's not true. I really love my partner and the honeymoon phase will be forever if I see it that way. Every day is exciting. Every day feels like our first date, and I'm going to keep it that way, and I can't wait to do that even when we're old and gray. And no, the honeymoon phase doesn't have to end because we actually don't hate each other. Okay, Carol. Yeah, that's like my hot take is like, after all these years of my life stressing, thinking like relationships were determined, like we're destined to be difficult or painful or hot and cold or, you know, full of challenge. It's actually not true. The relationship should be the thing that brings you peace when life is hard or when things get hard or when money gets tight or when jobs get tough or family gets sick or whatever. The relationship that you have with a partner should be the calmest thing that you have, should be the easiest thing that you have, because life is already so fucking stressful. Everything else in life is so difficult or can be difficult. Your relationship shouldn't be. It should not be causing you unnecessary stress, anger, anxiety, fear, whatever. It really just shouldn't be. I basically wanted to sum up what it's been like living with Chris last year, what it's been like living with a partner, living with my boyfriend for the last year. It's not like, oh, the ups and the downs and the good and the, like, it's been great. We have not had ups and downs. Like, it's been up. It's been on the ups. Like, it's great. Like, there are no complaints. There's no, guys, here's the tea, living with your partner for a year. Like, for us, it's just been great. And if that sounds fake or it sounds cheesy or cliche, you can think what you want. But when you are with somebody who, like, there's mutual respect, there's good communication, there's open communication, it just works. It just clicks. And I'm so grateful for that. This was the relationship that I hoped and dreamed for my entire life. Young Kayla was very much like, I need a very sweet man who is good at communicating, who loves me for every inch of me, every weird part of me, every quirky part of me. doesn't want me to change my looks or my body or my personality or my laugh or anything like that. And he just is all of those wonderful things. And I'm just so grateful that he's in my life. And again, I'm so grateful to not have a stressful, difficult relationship, because loving Chris and being in this relationship is like the easiest thing I've ever done. Even though it's like relationships are supposed to be or have the potential to be big and scary and a challenge. And I was fearful of relationships for so long. Like I was just nervous about all of what they entail, and heartbreak could happen or cheating could, like, not when you're with someone that it just works. I don't really know how much cohesion this episode had, but I just wanted to reflect on a year of living with a partner, listening to some of my older episodes, still standing on what I said then and standing on what I stand on now. And just, if you're in a relationship, just think about it. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be bringing you a lot of joy. And if you feel like you're just settling or you're not really that happy, give it a second thought, because being single and being happy and being with yourself and getting the chance to experience single life is so much better than being in a shit relationship or feeling stuck or feeling trapped or feeling like you're settling. Because like, you don't want that. You don't want that at all. If I didn't have what I had with Chris, if I wasn't as happy, if I feel like I was just settling, or I just was like, yeah, he's cool, I guess. Ugh, I would so much rather be single. But I don't have that. I'm like so happy that I'm with him and get to experience this life with him for hopefully forever. But he brings me joy. He makes my life better. And I think we both enhance each other's lives, and that's what a relationship should be. So that's all I have to say. I feel like I'm just talking in a circle at this point, but to my single friends, to my friends in relationships, there's always opportunity just to think, reflect a little bit. What's important to you? What's important to your partner? Do you feel like you're settling? Do you feel like you're actually in it for the long run? Have you had the hard-hitting conversations? Do you agree on certain things like religion or marriage or kids or money or credit scores? What do you believe in? What makes sense to you guys? And have those conversations, especially if you're single and dating. Ask the hard-hitting questions. Don't be afraid. Do not waste your first dates asking about favorite colors and where you went to college and blah, blah, blah. Ask some tough questions, and the real ones will stay. Because the real ones will put up with your weirdness and your intense questioning. They exist, okay? I think that's all I got for this episode. It's been great. It's been a full year. Can't wait for many, many more years to come, God willing. And all that to say, I'm wrapping it up because I'm going to go hang out with my sweet loving boyfriend, because he's upstairs all by himself and I just want to go hang out with him because I just can't get enough time with him. And if you want to call that the honeymoon, you can, but I call that true love, because I'm probably going to be this insufferable for the rest of my life. Okay? Even when we're old and gray, I'll be like, I want to spend more time with you. I tell him all the time, I'm like, where's your zipper? Because like being like touching him like in a hug, I'm like, that's not close enough. I need to unzip your skin and get on the inside of you. So that's where I'm at. Peace, love, and blessings. Love you guys. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.